The numbers are staggering. More than 1,300 cases of sexual assault were withdrawn or stayed before trial in 2022, more than 1,100 in 2023. An NDP MPP is trying to do something about that. Catherine Fife was looking to introduce Bill 189, Lydias Law, today in the legislature, but the process has hit a snag. She is joining us in studio along with Cait Alexander, a leading advocate for domestic abuse survivors. Thank you so much to the both of you for joining us.
It's a pleasure. Thank you very much for inviting us.
Let's talk about this snag. That is a bit of an understatement. What happened yesterday?
So unfortunately, Lydias Law, which was meant to be debated this afternoon, was dispensed from the legislature into committee without debate. It's offensive on so many levels. It's a very unusual thing for the government to do, quite honestly. Usually as individual MPPs, we get an opportunity each year to introduce a piece of legislation. This legislation was inspired by a young woman who approached me who had been sexually assaulted, who was re-traumatized and victimized by the court system. And she came to me and said, can we do something about this? So the law was a fix. The fact that the government, refused to have Lydias Law be debated in Ontario's legislature really is a travesty of justice. Women should not be silenced in the courts or in the legislature.
The Conservative Government House Leader Paul Calandra said yesterday there are a lot of good pieces within this bill, and if a committee recommends it back to the legislator to be debated, TBD. What do you make of that?
Yeah, so there is a lack of confidence here in this government. This government has traditionally not been supportive of women, sexual assault centers, women's crisis centers. When people show you who they really are, you should believe them. And the fact that they silence the debate on the sexual assault numbers that you just referenced is because they're embarrassed by it. They should be more embarrassed by it. They should be ashamed by it. And Lydias Law would have created some transparency and told us the real story of what's happening in the court system so we can address it and so we can fix it.
Cait, you are not a stranger for our viewers here at CityNews. You have been very outspoken. When you saw what happened yesterday, and it looked like there was some sort of progress being made, and then this, how did that make you feel?
I was angry for about 5 minutes. Received the call at around 5 o'clock, so at the final hour, when I flew in from LA on Monday night, people came in from all over Ontario. People took off time on work, spend their own time and money to be here to support this. So it's kind of a slap in the face, to use a really bad metaphor. And again, I was angry for about 5 minutes, and then I realized, what else should we expect? It's right on brand. Every single time this government does a misstep or makes another mistake or another very proactive choice to silence us, we get louder, and it's just adding fuel to our fire.
The plan for today, there was supposed to be debate today, and then you had a number of people who were going to join at Queen's Park for an assembly. It's still happening, Cait?
Oh, yes.
Yes?
In that moment, I was like, oh my gosh, tomorrow's off. What do I say to the hundreds of people that I have coming? And no, what do? We just show up, and we still say what we're here to say. So 4 o'clock today, we'll all be there at Queen's Park doing the exact same thing without the debate. So it actually is it's a little bit of a gift. It went to first reading automatically, and then we're still going to assemble, and we're going to figure out what our next steps are.
So that's the question. So what are the next steps, at least when it comes to Queen's Park?
Well, I think Cait has highlighted one of the key pieces is that we need people to show up, allies to show up and support. There's obviously a petition. I spoke with Lydia and her mom yesterday. They were disappointed, of course, but they're even more determined to, gather those signatures, hold the government to account, keep speaking up. And our caucus, the official opposition, is completely committed to addressing the backlog in the court systems. This is justice denied, it's justice delayed, and we can do so much better in Ontario.
It felt as though that there was some movement. I know you tweeted something from one of the members, Jill Andrew, who had said women who've experienced gender-based violence do not need to be re-traumatized, re-violated by a justice system that is grossly underfunded, under-resourced, and understaffed.
Absolutely.
In those comments, because someone who might be watching, it would be baffling to them that this actually happens.
Yes.
Right? That things are stalled, that people walk away.
Yeah.
So the message for those who are watching right now, what can someone who is watching take away from this? What can they do other than just raising their voices, as you, Cait, have said so eloquently, and showing up to these rallies and writing their MPPs? What can they do?
Well, I mean, just really quickly before Cait talks about the personal point, but yeah, all of us as members of provincial parliament, we need to be held to account for this. I'm trying to hold the Attorney General to account. I'm trying to compel him to do his job and to be transparent of why so many sexual assault cases are being thrown out. But the pressure needs to be, we've shone a light on the issue, and quite honestly, they can't hide from it anymore.
No, well, we work together.
That's right.
And it's not a partisan issue, so none of that. We, as a community and as a government, need to work together. The government needs to remember that the people kind of own the government. We're in charge ultimately, and we get to vote. So I know that there are thousands of people, because I've had them contact me personally, and it's been my honor to respond to each and every single one of them over the course of the last 7 weeks. And people know what's going on. They are acutely aware of what's going on, and this pressure will only increase with every single time you try to deny us. We're survivors of attempted murder, sexual assault, the most gruesome, heinous crimes that you could ever imagine. You think a little schedule change is going to throw us off? No, this is proving our point.
Yeah, and the accountability piece that Cait mentioned is so key, is that, this is a government that now understands how strongly people feel about this issue. Our caucus brought the intimate partner violence under the leadership of Jill and Peggy Sattler and Kristen Wong-Tam and Lisa Gretzky. We've shone a light on it. They can't hide from it anymore. This is our moment, and we have to keep the pressure on.
More to come. Thank you to you both for joining today, and best of luck this afternoon.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it.